What's your advice when you want to talk to people who want to do their own business? I'm like, don't do it. That's my first advice. I'm like, have you really thought about it?
You don't feel it's helpful if you're just like, oh yeah, anybody can do this.
Yeah,
you're
no,
like,
not at all.
No. You're like, I'm somebody who
I'm
can
going to
do
do the
this.
opposite.
And I'm like, yeah.
I'm going to give you I'm going to go up here. I'm going to play devil's advocate with that.
Hard work, real talk, no shortcuts. I'm Joseph Cabrera. This is American Operator. All right, team. Welcome back. I'm here with Robert Strong, Pretty Thai, founder, guy kind of runs the day-to-day, head chef, all the things that come in. I think it's really cool to have someone on the show today that not only is a different kind of business than we've talked to before, where you have, if you're watching it right now, you see the ingredients here. We'll talk about the sauces and kind of the product, so to speak, but also a veteran. So I think we're going to dive into some of those things that maybe were unique tools or experiences that maybe you leverage every day here. But good to have you in, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. Good to be here.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, let's do this. Let's start off with like a little bit of like who Robert was before. I mean, talk about like where you grew up and then why you decide to join the service.
Yeah. So I grew up in a very small, I joke around a lot. I was actually in the kitchen yesterday and I brought in a woman. She was a temp to help me fill. And I'm like, where are you from? She's like, I'm from Cuba. And I was like, me too. I'm from Cuba also. And she's like, give me this weird side-eye look. What are you talking about? I was like, this was actually my pickup line in college. This is what I would do. I would say, I'm from, where are you from, right? Whenever they ask, what's your major and where are you from? And I'd say, Cuba, New York. Oh, I'm sorry, I messed that up. I would say Cuba. And they would say, no, you're not. And I was like, yeah, I am. And they show my license, Cuba, New York.
Yeah.
Nobody knows where Cuba, New York is.
Where is Cuba, New York?
It's about, I use Buffalo as a reference point. It's about an hour and 15 minutes southwest of Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
So that's the big major. And then about an hour and a half from Rochester. About an hour and a half from Niagara Falls.
It was a good place to grow up.
Yes and no. I mean, it was small, quiet, no trouble, no crime. I couldn't wait to get out of there. I don't think there was a ton of opportunity in that area. I think it's fact check me on this, but I know in the past, Allegheny County was one of the poorest counties in all of the state of New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
what do people do there for a living? Like what do your folks do and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, a small bit. My mom was a small town waitress in our small town diner. That's where I was really first introduced to food.
Yeah.
I mean, my entire life, she grew up waiting tables and cooking in the back when my town's like 2,000 people. So the cheese factory was one of the big businesses in our town. There's a lot of farms.
Like the restaurant cheese? Or like an actual cheese factory?
No, an actual cheese factory. Great Lakes. We used to produce a lot of different cheese.
Yeah.
And I worked there for the first 2 years of college. When I came back home for the summer, I'd worked there at the cheese factory. But yeah, just a lot of small town, small business stuff, which I didn't really ever think about. Never thought about being an entrepreneur growing up. Didn't really know what that was. But yeah, no, Cuba, New York is where I grew up. And got out of there. Like I said, I graduated a year early from high school. I doubled up my last year and graduated a year early to get out.
Why'd you do that?
Well, initially I was actually held back when I was younger. When I was in kindergarten, I was really quiet.
So trying to catch up.
So I failed kindergarten.
Sorry, I'm not laughing.
No,
man.
You're good.
It just sounds ridiculous.
I failed kindergarten.
Why? What subject? There's not even subjects in kindergarten.
Just being a kid, I think. I don't know. No, I was really quiet. And so I failed kindergarten, so I was put into pre-first. So I was basically a year behind. Yeah. So I grew up my entire life with one group of people, even though everybody knows everybody in this town. It's really small.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just got going into my junior year, I was like, I need to get out of here.
Well, let me give you some street cred, man. It's better to like go through it and fail it. There's some parents that'll fail their kid before even getting into kindergarten. They're like, we're just going to hold you back because you ain't going to make it.
And this last year, because of that experience I had, this last year, when my oldest now, she's in first grade, but she was in kindergarten, and again, similar things. And they're like, maybe we should hold her back. And I was like, no, we're not holding her back.
That's cool.
She's a kid. Like, let her develop. And she's doing great in first grade.
She is.
Yeah. So it's, just growing up and being, learning the ways of the world. But yeah, no. So I ended up saying, let's get out of here. And I ended up going to Ithaca College in New York.
Ithaca College.
In central New York, yeah. So just 2 hours away from home, but far enough that I couldn't go back all the time. And Yeah, just 4 years in Ithaca, studied history and politics. Was going to be a social studies education major, and great experience there. I loved it. Had great professors, really great history professors, and I remember I was going into New York City. There's a program we did with a inner city school in Harlem where we would go in and teach, Frederick Douglass Academy, and I'd come out of there. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I want to do this, and then I go back and I do like a program with my school in Ithaca with some high schoolers, and I was like, I could not do this. I can't teach these kids. They don't want to learn. I don't have the patience for this. I just realized it right away. I don't have the patience for this. So it was I was 99 to 2003 is when I was in college. So of course 9/11, and I remember exactly where I was sitting on my pleather couch in my apartment in Ithaca, and eating cereal. And
You remember what kind of cereal?
I don't remember the kind of cereal. I think you were going to ask me that. I don't remember the kind of cereal.
What kind it wasn't? What were you like for sure it was not this kind of cereal?
Oh man, those probably wasn't like Chex or something like that.
Yeah.
It wasn't Cheerios, Heart Healthy or anything like that.
Oh, it was the good stuff. It was like
Yeah, it definitely
Cocoa
had some kind of
Puffs.
sugar,
Yeah.
something like that. But I remember just looking at the TV and seeing what was happening with the towers. And I thought I started changing channels. I'm like, this is like some weird movie. And I kept seeing it. And I was like, what is going on? And of course, we're 3.5 hours from New York City. So I go to campus and everybody's freaking out because so many people that go to the school have family that are in the towers that work in New York City. The girlfriend at the time the girl I was dating, she had family that were in the city. A lot of people we knew had family there. Well, I didn't lose anybody specific to myself. It just something like flipped. And I was immediately like, you take for granted what you have here in this country. I think so often people do, and I still see this today. And for me, something just flipped, and I was like, wow, military, it just kind of was there. And I remember being on an elevator the next day, and this kid that I was in classes with, he's like, I just joined ROTC at Cornell. And I was already too far along, and I was like, I want to try to do it, and I was too far along to do it. So I was like, well, I can't do that. So, let me try to go, officer. Then I wanted to go Air Force. And they weren't accepting. They weren't letting anybody in at all. And I'm like, well, I really want to do this. So I ended up graduating in May of 2003, stayed home for a few months, and I said, okay, I'm just going to pack my Jeep up, and I'm going to drive to Daytona Beach, Florida. And I'm going to wait tables and bartend, and I'm just going to do that. And that lasted for 4 months.
just to kind of reset?
Just
or
reset.
collect your thoughts?
And I was going to student teach and stuff. And I remember getting calls for student teaching like third graders. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to go into, do that with third graders. I was going to teach high school. I'm not doing that. And, it came to the point where I was like, I'm about to go broke. Like, I'm not making any money. I'm going to be in debt because I was still paying off some loans from college. So I walked into the recruiter's office in Daytona Beach, Florida, and said, I want to be James Bond.
You said that?
Yeah. And he's like, okay, well, let's get you signed up and take this test first. And I was like, okay. So I took the ASVAB, and I scored somewhere in like the mid-90s overall. I did really well on it.
Yeah, that's a good score.
Yeah, and I put down all my jobs were all Intel, and then EOD was like the last job. I just put it in there. And he's like, well, you can get whatever job in here you want. And I was like, okay. So I picked 1M4, which was a signals intelligence analyst.
Okay.
Didn't know anything else. I just knew.
Why? You just thought it sounded cool? Or?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was just signals intelligence. I was like, signals intelligence. That sounds great.
Yeah.
So I ended up going back through MEPS in Buffalo.
This is like before you can. I was just my bad, man. I was just thinking like this is like before the days where you could just like Google something, right? You aren't gonna be like, let me hop my phone out and see if this job actually is cool or not.
Yeah.
You're not doing that. You're like, that feels right.
Yeah, because cell phones existed, but I still didn't even have a cell phone. And even back then, cell phones, you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So went through MEPS, got in, did the basic training thing, and then that's where you find out, you find out where you're going for your tech school, which was in San Angelo, Goodfellow Air Force Base. And then from there, you put it in, and then you pick your duty stations or your dream list, and then you get your dream list, and you get whatever you get. They're like, this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he had some pretty cool options for my career field, but the number one option I put in was Hawaii. I was like, I want to go. Hawaii. And I got Hawaii.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I got Hawaii. It was awesome.
Dude, Air Force, Hawaii, like this is a good job.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it was, so I enjoyed my time active duty Air Force. Like I really do. Like I would do it again. I would say anybody who's thinking about joining the military in general, the Air Force, I would definitely recommend it. Like it can really take you to the next level. While saying that, my job, I didn't enjoy my job when I was in the Air Force, and probably because I had a really terrible E7 Master Sergeant. I mean, there was just some horrendous things that he would say and do to all of us. I remember just walking up, because we were working underground, and there was this quarter-mile tunnel you had to walk up. If you know the movie Snowden, that's where he worked after me. I was there before him.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of that Hollywood stuff was made up. There wasn't a lot of that stuff in there, unless they changed it, but I don't think that was the case.
You're like, man, I've been there.
Yeah, I remember I lived there for 3 years. I was walking up the tunnel. I remember just seeing his truck, and I would just, my chest would just like squeeze and tighten, and I was like, ah. But I was excelling. I was getting early promotion below the zone, going on, pinning on E4 6 months early, and then I tested for Staff Sergeant E5, and the whole goal was to go officer. So I was just going to go over to OTS, and I got E5 within 2.5 years. I distinguished graduate in tech school. I was a distinguished graduate at Airman Leadership School, nominated for leadership. I'm like, I'm excelling, but this guy didn't care, and he would just treat you like crap.
This guy was just not a good dude.
You try to ask to go to the bathroom, he'd sit there and make you wait for 5 minutes to stand there and embarrass you. I mean, the things he would do is nuts. So I'm like, tell the Air Force, I'm like, hey, I'm excelling. I want to get a job as an instructor at Goodfellow. Well, you don't give the Air Force ultimatums like, we'll give you that job or not. I'm like, well, then I've got a job offer making 3 times what I was going to make if I was going to be teaching, which is what I thought I was going to be doing when I was going to college, using my top secret security clearance. And they're like, well, we can't guarantee you an instructor job. I said, well, then I'm going to be getting out. So I did 4 years active duty, and then I took a job working for the National Ground Intelligence Center in Charlottesville, Virginia. I was working for the Counter ID targeting program. And basically, I found out really quickly, our job was basically, we were embedded in Iraq and Afghanistan. I went to Iraq. And the first 3 months that I was there, I was supposed to go like in 6 or 9 months. But there was an emergency with the guy that I was replacing. He had to come home early. So in the first 3 months, they're like, Robert, you're going to Fallujah. You're going in working with the Marines. I was like, okay, put me in charge.
Did you go over there at all while you were in?
No, not active duty. No, that's the thing. That's the funny part.
Hoot, man.
Top security clearance. I wanted to go over there.
Sure.
I really did. I want to go over and support and do real intel. And they're like, well, if you go over, because you're considered forward deployed in Hawaii, so if you go over there, all you can do is go basically follow around third-party nationals when they're cleaning porta-johns. That'll be your job. And I'm like, I'm not going to Iraq to follow around third-party nationals who are cleaning the toilets. Like, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. So I had to get out to deploy.
But it still seems like you still made it. You still made it there.
Yeah. Yeah, no. So, within the first 3 months, so 2008, went to Fallujah. I mean, this is funny. First time I ever had a ear infection. I fly in. We get into Kuwait, stay in Kuwait, take the flight into Baghdad, BIOP. First 10 minutes I'm there, we're about to go to the DFAC, and we get bombed. I'm in Saddam's palace. We get hit with a mortar. The DFAC got hit, and the whole palace is shaking. And I'm like, what was that? They're like, oh, it's just a mortar attack, the DFAC. I'm like, where we were just going? They're like, yeah. And I'm like, cool. Welcome to Iraq.
In MREs today, boys.
Yeah. So we get, and the only way to really get to Fallujah at that point was to get on a helo. So I get on a V-22 Osprey, the Marines, and they fly me in at night. You're not flying in the daytime, too much risk.
Yeah.
So I get in, and I'm like, I thought that my eardrum popped from the flight. It wasn't. I get in, and turns out I had an ear infection. So the first day I'm in the infirmary. So I walk into my job the first time, and the guy that I was replacing was a big jokester. Because he'd been telling me for the first 2 weeks, like, hey, they got a death here where they basically do fights. And I got you signed up. So you're on the list. And I was like, okay, Brian, cool. I walk in, and he's like, come on, let me show you the octagon. And you walk out, and it's just a bunch of sandbags outside in the sand. And he's like, cool, you see, you're on the list. You're like, you're up here in like about an hour. And I was like, And I'm starting to like get a little scared. I'm like, dude, I'm
This
this
guy's
Air
for
Force
real?
kid. You got me in the Marines out here, and I'm watching them fight, and he thinks I'm about to go in. He's like, I'm just fucking with you, man. And I was like, dude, seriously? But that was my introduction to Fallujah. So,
How long did you stay over there?
the first deployment was 9 months. We closed down Camp Fallujah, 08, pushed out to Al-Assad, and then I went back stateside for about a year and a half. And then my second deployment was in 10, 11. That was a year, and that was with the Navy SEALs, teams 3 and 5. So I did same area, Camp Fallujah, but it was Camp Bahariya, because Camp Fallujah was controlled by the Iraqis at that point. And I was the lead targeting analyst for the Navy SEALs. And I was, at that point, I was a subject matter expert for the whole Fallujah belt, because I'd been studying that for the last 3 years.
If you give people some insight, like what is that job? I know what that job is, but like if you were going to describe to somebody in civilian lingo.
Yeah. So again, the counter ID targeting program, the initial requirement was that you're supposed to basically determine who the bad guys were and who were putting out these roadside bombs that were killing American allied forces, but it became more than that. It was any kind of terrorist or insurgent activity going on within, that region, Al Anbar province, specifically the Fallujah belt, east of it, Karma, Abu Ghraib goes into Baghdad, and then west, controlling that area and determining who the bad operators were. And I would be the one to do that. And then we put together reports, and not so much for the first deployment with the Marines, but the second deployment with the SEALs, I was their lead civilian targeted analyst, and I was the one that had the most information about the whole area. So they leaned on me the most. So I knew all the players. So if anything popped up, I'm like, you need to get this guy.
Yeah.
And I put together a report. They go at nighttime, and they really did knock. Hey, you guys in there?
Yeah.
They would knock down the door, and they would.
Some nice guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a job that I think a lot of folks who are unaware, super important, putting these packages together. You're really putting this puzzle together in order for the guys who operate in the evening to kind of go do their work. But without all that background and understanding where folks live and their signatures and all that other kinds of stuff, you're really just kind of pulling a needle in a haystack. So it's quite a bit of work to be able to target those folks in the right way.
Yeah. And of course, I came in from a signals analyst standpoint, and then I did mostly comment human. And it was really cool because I didn't have any interrogation training. But my second deployment with the SEALs, one of the operators came in, and he's like, listen, you know everything about these people around here. You know everybody. He's like, will you come in and work with me and help? So he started letting me come in and actually help interrogate.
Yeah.
And that was like, that was fun.
What's something in the movies they get wrong, and what's something that you're like they get right? To the extent you can talk about it.
I don't know. I know a funny story where one time I was sitting in front of he was a few rungs below one of the very high up, at the time we called them Al-Qaeda in Iraq. We didn't call them ISIS. That was a name that they were given later when they rebranded.
Yeah.
They did a little rebrand. Yeah, there is Al-Qaeda in Iraq wasn't good enough. We're going to go with ISIS. We all know who they were. They were the same players.
I wonder what agency they hired to help them with the rebrand.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. Anyway, go
dig down into that. But he looked at me, and we were talking about a certain individual. He looked at me and talking to the Terp, and he said something, and the Terp looked at me, and I was like, what did he say? He's like, he said, you look a lot like so-and-so if you had a beard. And I was like, you're saying I look like one of the higher-ups in Al-Qaeda? He's like, yeah. He said, you look really close to him. A lot like him. I was like, okay, cool. I guess it's a compliment coming from you.
Yeah, maybe it's maybe did you play into it? You're like, well, maybe I am.
Yeah.
So you better just.
No, I didn't play into it. I just looked at him. I said, let's get on the point.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the subject at hand.
So how did you spend this time in the service, man? It's some deep, intense stuff. At this point, are you thinking at all like I'm eventually going to start this business one day?
No, but I did want to do something different. I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was so much fun, and I looked back to this day, and I take a great sense of pride in what I was able to accomplish and do with some of the most elite forces in this entire world. I really did enjoy it. And I would probably do it again if my wife would let me. I don't think she will now. We have 3 kids. But
Yeah.
no, I was thinking about what I wanted to do next, what I want to do when I grow up. And I eventually settled on journalism.
Okay.
And I looked between 2 schools. It was going to be USC or it was going to be UT because I wanted to be like a sports broadcast journalist. I wanted to be like an NFL sideline reporter or work for the Golf Channel. So I started studying the schools, and they both had really good emphasis on sports broadcasting. UT it is.
Is that where then y'all eventually met here then? Is that ultimately?
So I eventually met my wife here in UT, not UT, in culinary school, but I met her in Austin.
Did you, UT, what school, what's it called?
School of Communications. It was UT, it was journalism under the School of Communications.
Yeah.
So I had to apply, and I got accepted, and I just said, let's go. So I packed up.
This is like grad school now? Or is this more like just another degree?
I'm doing the undergrad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already had an undergrad, but I was going to do another undergrad.
Kind of have to redevelop, yeah.
Yeah, I said, let's go
Reset.
in from the ground up, and I'll work my way up. I've got a lot of good life lessons now, and everything I've learned, I think I can make it pretty quick. So I moved to Austin and enrolled in my first semester, and this was 2011. And I remember just being in the class with all these 18-year-old kids, and I'm just like, God, these guys have no perspective. Like, they just don't know what's going on. And they had no patience. After working where I worked with who I'd worked with for the last really 7 years,
Yeah.
I was like, I just can't do this. So I ended up, I was watching, it was Top Chef Texas at that time. And it was here, and Paul Key ended up winning that season. I remember watching it, and they were going all around Texas on Top Chef. And I remember seeing the food truck scene. I was like, this is really cool. And I never even thought about, I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. Honestly, I didn't know what it was.
You were just trying to get out there and tell broadcast, tell stories.
Yeah,
That's the whole thing.
I just wanted to have fun. After you spend that much time over, in a hellhole like Iraq for so long, you want a piece of that American dream. So I'm like, I'm going to go back and just have fun and do what I love, which was sports. I want to be involved in that. But I saw the food scene, and I was like, this is amazing. So I literally went up to Le Cordon Bleu, like day after I saw the commercial, and I checked it out, and I called a buddy of mine that I'd met who also loved food. He was a nurse, but he also loved food. I was like, Sergio, I'm doing it. I'm going to Le Cordon Bleu. He's like, I'll do it with you, man. I'll do it with you. So he's never used his culinary degree one day. He just goes and does it. He's got all this nursing stuff, and he's a nurse now, and he's an amazing nurse.
Did you leave school then?
Yeah,
I drop out. And
I finished the semester, and then I went to Le Cordon Bleu.
Where's that at? San Antonio?
Well, no, it was at North Austin. It was up in
okay.
the Domain.
Yeah.
It's no longer exists. I don't know, was it like 70 years ago? They closed down all their technical schools in all of North America.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my decision. Let's go to culinary school. I remember I was actually at a job fair where I ended up meeting Kristen off of, and I was talking to different people, and I was talking to Eric from Peach Tortilla, and Paul Key was there, and I remember I'm going to meet Paul Key because I was going to get a stage at Uchi, and I did, and I remember going up to him like, Mr. Key, like, I'd love to, pick your brain, blah, 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 and I was like, I just dropped out of UT and to come here. He's like, should have stayed in school, man. And I was like, well, I already have a degree. So he's like, oh, okay. But
hey, brother, you probably ain't gonna make it. So you should.
Yeah, he's like, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, what's some vote of confidence there?
Yeah.
So how long was this program when you went to Cordon Bleu?
Just a year.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a year. So it was a year, and then I did 3 months. I did a 3-month stage at Uchi. I worked at Peach Tortilla on the food truck to get a little experience because I'd had the idea during all this for Pretty Thai for a White Guy.
Yeah, that's the name. That was the name of your first
the food truck.
Yeah.
So I was sitting on my place in East Riverside, first apartment I had, and I was cooking. I wasn't even listening to that song. I was just listening to music. And I started cooking. I was cooking Thai food because I'd fallen in love with Thai food when I was over in Iraq. One of the SEALs came to me and said, "Hey man, you want to go to Thailand?" And I was like, I was going to go to Australia because they were going to send me anywhere in the world. My company. So I went to Thailand and was just, it was 6 months of being in Iraq.
Yes.
Make any place look amazing, but it was amazing.
The food is dynamite.
The food was just insane.
Yeah.
And I never had anything like that. So I came back and I was just like cooking Thai food all the time and just studying and looking at things and recipes. And I was just cooking. I was like, Pretty Thai for a White Guy. And I was like, holy shit. So I was walking around and I was on the food truck working for Peace Tortillas. So I was down at nights. I was telling all the bartenders, everybody, hey, I'm going to do a food truck called Pretty Thai for a white guy. They're like, dude, that's awesome. Yeah. When you have it, let me know. And long story short, I did it. I actually did it. And we opened up in January of 2013. But the culinary school, and this was right literally as I graduated from culinary school.
Yeah.
So I worked at Thai Fresh for 3 months, my externship from school, and I learned a bunch of technique. And then we had the food truck going. And I remember I was invited to be the valedictorian to speak at all the classes. And I was like, sorry, I can't. I literally opened up.
You got to go run this business.
Yeah, I run the business. So I didn't even go to my graduation. I was running the business.
Such a grind memory, man.
Yeah.
So you opened this up. Was it an elaborate menu? Like what was the whole?
The menu is fun. Yeah, that's interesting. So when we first opened up, just coming out of culinary school, I wanted to be all fancy. So we were doing, I had a signature dish, which was a steak salad of mint and cilantro that I learned previously. And I used to make it when I was, for all my people I used to work for, and I'd bring it to potlucks. I'm like, we want this recipe. So that's my signature dish.
Yeah.
And that's what we led with. And we led with a bunch of fancy stuff. And we quickly realized this isn't going to work at a bar. We opened up a Moon Tower Saloon at Manchac and Slaughter first 4 months that they were open. And it was busy. And people were coming up, and we had burger places and everything else. They're coming up, and they're like, one night we were there, it was a weekend night, and we're making what we got. It's like 2 a.m, and this drunk guy comes up and is like, you guys have nachos? And we're like, we looked at each other, and we're like, we could. We made the nachos.
Right there?
Right there on the spot, gave it to him. And then 2 weeks later, we get a guy come up to the window, he's like, hey, I'm from the Thrillist. I just drove down from North Austin. He's like, I heard you have the best nachos in Austin. And I was like, okay. Those nachos were eventually featured on the cooking channel. We were featured on East Street, season 12.
Really?
And those were one of the dishes that were featured. But
break down the nachos. What makes this? Was it Thai nachos?
Yeah, we did it. It was slow pulled pork Thai nachos. So we would braise the pulled. We didn't smoke it. We didn't have a smoker. We would marinate it for like a day, and we would braise it for like 8-10 hours in the oven with a bunch of different spices and everything. And then in the beginning we did smoked Gouda, and we did Gruyere. And Gruyere was because I remember the way I think about food is like from like senses and smell and then thinking about it. So I remember we were cooking French onion soup in culinary school one day, and I remember we put the Gruyere cheese on top of the soup in the salamander to melt it. I remember smelling it. I was like, what's that smell like? It smells like fish sauce. It smells like fish sauce. Like that could go well with Thai food.
Yeah.
So when we were doing the nachos, we were doing it with smoked Gouda and Gruyere cheese. And then we were putting a bunch of peppers and onions, and we were throwing it on top of the flat top. We were frying our own chips, and we had our own seasoning blend. And then we would make our own, one of the recipes that I learned from Uchi that I've used, we would make a yuzu kosho sour cream and put it on top of there. And we would finish it off with sriracha at the time. I'm very much against sriracha now. But at the time, it was like, this is what we got. And Thai basil and green onion, and it would come out, and it was phenomenal.
Wow.
Really big flavors. And so that's what we did. And we started creating these recipes. We started creating stuffed green curry burger. All of a sudden, we were getting chefs coming up like, this is amazing. This burger.
So y'all started kind of humbling the menu.
Yeah, we humbled the menu big time. Burgers, nachos, quesadillas, still doing things like we brought pad thai in. We didn't have pad thai on the menu because I didn't like pad thai and I didn't want to do it. And then when the 50th person asks you for pad thai, you're like, okay.
It's like,
might as well make a pad
you're being
thai.
asked for free bird at a thing. You eventually just got to pay free bird.
So I spent 2 weeks coming up with a recipe. Because when I worked at Thai Fresh, I was on the walk. I didn't deal with recipes. They gave me everything made, like the sauces and everything. And they're like, and I learned the dishes. I learned how to make the pad keema and the pad thai and all the noodle dishes and the curries. But I didn't make anything. I didn't prep anything. So I had no recipes. So I'm having to develop all this from like memory and what I remember and the smells and everything. So I created the pad thai and I started testing it with people at the bar. And then you're like, this is really good. And so we started making the pad thai, and we would literally have to sell out pad thai at 8 o'clock every night because that's all anybody would order. And it takes so much time because you're stuck on the walk for 8 to 10 minutes, especially because we didn't have enough BTUs. I didn't have a wok burner. We just had a stovetop.
Yeah.
So I'm like, guys, we're 86 in pad thai at 8 o'clock at night. We're saying we sold out, even though we had the ingredients, because we can't do that and get this bar
Do
rush.
the rest of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because it just became insane. Like it was so busy.
Yeah.
But yeah, we humbled the menu. We did it in a fun way. And that's what we try to do with our products now, is give you a unique, versatile way of using them that you would never think about. Combining those Thai flavors with everyday foods that you're used to eating and really having fun with it and making it less boring, less pedantic, So, yeah, that's what
the sauces, I imagine the sauces came out of the truck, but how long did the truck go for?
Yeah. So, not as long as it probably should have, I'm be honest. Like, it was the first 6 months. I remember somebody come up to me and they're like, I'm in culinary school right now, and this sweet chili sauce is amazing. It's like, you sell it? And I was like, no, I didn't even think about selling it. And I remember, that was within the first 6 months.
Yeah.
And the first 6 months were the hardest for us there. It was really, the first 2 months were just a nightmare. Nobody would come to our truck. We had to do all kinds of stuff. But I was like, no, I never thought about selling it. And I remember looking at Kristen, we were coming back from Bernie, where her family lives. And I was like, maybe we should try to sell it. And we started looking around H-E-B, Whole Foods. Nobody was doing it. It was all full of crap. And I was like, there's nobody doing it like we do it. Thinking it was going to be so easy to do. But yeah, we lasted 9 months to 10 months in Austin. We moved the food truck at the end of 2013 to Bernie. And we were serving at a really upscale bar in Bernie, and then another bar outside of Bernie on the food truck for about a year. And then, because we didn't know what we wanted to do when we grow up, and Kristen, before coming to Austin, after going to A&M for a nutrition degree, she's like, I always wanted to go to California. So I'm like, well, I wanted to go to golf school. That's what I was going to do before. It was either journalism or golf school.
Like to become a pro?
Oh, to see how good I could get.
Yeah.
But then nothing else to teach golf. So we chose to go to Temecula, California, and I was going to golf school. She got a job working at an Italian restaurant, and we started Pretty Thai. We started bottling in the hill country here, but we really started selling at the farmers markets in Southern California.
Because you decided, hey, okay, let's sunset this Pretty Thai for a white guy food truck. Let's move out here to Cali.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, we know this food though.
Yeah, I loved the name and I always wanted to do it, but I knew that for the product line, you couldn't do that. Like it had to be something shorter. And Pretty Thai always had a lot of meaning to me. There's a lot of different Thais, a tonal language. You say, it's Pretty Thai. It's Pretty Thai. Depending on how you do it, everything we do has authentic Thai ingredients, Thai flavors, but we do a different twist on it.
Yeah.
Typically. So yeah, it was shortened to Pretty Thai, and we were out in California, and we were creating the products and the labels, and they were terrible, and our packaging was horrendous. But we were just stumbling along, going at it, and I was still going to golf school, but we were missing Austin, we were missing Texas, we were missing H-E-B. Like our grocery stores out there were terrible compared to H-E-B. We're like, oh, we miss H-E-B.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's go back and do the food truck, because we were just renting it to another food truck operator here, and let's sell the sauces at the same time and see what we can do. So we spent 9 months in California, moved back at the end of 2015 to Austin, got a food truck spot right down behind the old Tom's Market, now behind on Barton Springs, right there. Before it was a condo, it was a food truck park, and we were serving there. For about,
you did Pretty Thai came back?
Pretty Thai for a white guy.
Came back. Okay.
And we were selling Pretty Thai out of the food trucks. We were bottling it on the food truck and selling it to customers. And we got back into the farmers markets, and we were doing brunch at the Lakeline Farmers Market. It was January of 2016. And I remember we were serving our brunch, and a woman comes up and she's like, oh, you guys have sauces? And I was like, yeah, we have sauces. She's like, well, my husband's the grocery manager at North Lamar Central Market. I was like, cool. She's like, you want to talk to him? I was like, 100%, and give me his information. I called him. He's like, yeah, come in. You can do a presentation. So I went in and met with the whole foodie team, presented the whole line. At the time we had our sweet chili sauce, our lemongrass lime dressing, which was the signature dish, the steak salad dish sauce that I created, which was very authentic and was amazing. Too authentic for the average consumer. That's what I've learned. But
it was like too garlicky?
It was like straight lime fish sauce with Thai chili.
Yeah.
Super simple, but just super authentic Thai. Like, I remember an old woman one time called me up and she's like, I answer my calls. If you call me on Sunday about it, I answer the phone to this day. Like, I love talking to people about the food, but she's like, this tastes like battery acid. And my first question was, ma'am, how do you know what battery acid tastes like? How do you know what that tastes like? well, it just doesn't taste good. And I was like, well, how'd you use it? She's like, well, I just drank it. I'm like, don't drink it straight.
Yeah, use it in something.
Use it. So I started giving all these ideas, and she's like, oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
And she got back. She's like, I used it. It was really good. And I was like, yes. But it was so hard to educate.
Yeah.
So we went in. They said, oh, this is the most amazing line we've seen in the last decade. We want you. So they got corporate to greenlight us. So they greenlight us at the one store. They're like, well, you're in the system now. You can just go down to the Westgate store, and you should be able to get in. So I walked down there. I'm like, hey, I'm in the system. They're like, bring us 2 cases of each. I was
Wow.
like, cool. But you got to stock it. So I'm going in the back, learning how to stock it, running the system with everybody in the back, stocking my own product.
Oh,
right?
I didn't know that's how that works.
Yeah, when you're doing DSD and you start
Yeah.
out small, yeah, you can go. I mean, I'm not sure how it goes now. I'm assuming it's very similar because I still do the same thing at Wheatsville and everything else. I go in and stock my own product to this day, and I've been in there for 9 years as well.
Wow.
So, but yeah, that's how the whole transition went from the food truck to the product company to how we first got into retail.
Is the food truck still around?
No.
Well,
No.
when was the idea to go, you know what, we need to focus? It sounds like you were like, we got to focus on
Well,
sauce.
Central Market said in January of 2016, said, hey, we'd like to bring you in. So at the end of that month, we sold the food truck. It wasn't, I mean, I look back now and I'm like, I don't regret the food truck. The food truck is a tough business. I do feel like we left a lot of meat on the bone. I think, and Kristen knows this, but I think, it was stressful for both of us. I think it was really stressful for her. And you know how it is. You're married, right? Mm-hmm. When your wife's stressed, you're stressed. And it just rolled downhill. And just, the more stress she got, the more stressed I got. And I was like, we just need to get out of this. And so we did. But I was like, man, we had so much potential. Like, we were doing so good. We were getting so much recognition. We were getting, the cooking channel. And we were getting all this stuff. We were doing all these features on Fox. And like, we were just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
But that's what I was trying to do with this, with the product line, saying, go home, create the same recipes we were creating. We give you recipes on our website and cook at home.
Yeah. Was the stress part primarily from just like the hours of like the food business?
Yeah, it was a lot. It's just a lot. I mean, it's so hard to go into all the nitty gritty. It's just, there's so much involved.
It's
especially in the
manual
food truck.
labor. I mean, it's like,
I mean, just the horror stories of the gray water and all the things now that I have, a shared kitchen business, and we work with operators and trying to help them out as much as we can. But the gray water, having to dump the gray water, like when I was down behind Towns Market, I rigged up a 100-gallon gray water tank myself, put it all together, built it from Tank Depot, and I talked I'm not sure is it the Pecan Grove RV park right there?
Oh, yeah.
Just past Juliet.
Yeah.
I talked to a guy in $20 a month under the table, and I'm going to dump my gray water, attach it, and dump it. So I'm on a Saturday morning, I'll get out there before anybody else is on the street, and I'm like pulling this. It must have weighed like 500 pounds at that point in time. Like, 100 yards to get to the Pecan Grove, attach it, and dump the gray water.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Like the things, like we would sit there on our food truck, because the way they build our food truck, I don't know what they were thinking, but when the gray water tank filled up, it didn't just come up to sink, it started going out the bottom. So we're sitting there serving at Moon Tower, and a Saturday night slammed, and all of a sudden the owner comes up, your gray water's leaking. And I'm out there in the ground underneath the food truck with a line of 20 people watching me, trying to stop this from going all over the place. I'm like, that's really appetizing, right? Like just the little tiny, like there's just so much.
Yeah. All the little things.
All the little things. And we're out till 3, 4 in the morning every night. We have 2 dogs at the time. We have no kids. And the dogs are at home all day. We brought the dogs a few times with us. And one time the guy comes up, we had him in we didn't think anything about this. We had him in a cage in front. And the guy goes up, who owns the place. He's like, you think that looks good? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, you're doing Asian food and you got 2 dogs in a cage in front of your food truck. And I was like, yeah, good point.
He's like, have you thought about this
You
at
think
all?
about the optics? And I was like, I didn't even think about it. People love dogs here. I just thought they'd be like, oh, you bring your dogs with you to work. So
Yeah, don't put any specials on the menu. People will
No.
go like, I know where that's coming
no,
from.
what is
Oh my God. So, okay, you go and you say, all right, let's focus on this sauce thing. So it must be just like you guys be cruising. I mean, that's easy
so
days.
simple? Yeah, so naive, thinking, oh, this is gonna be. It's a completely different. And people all the time now that are in the restaurant business, because I got a ton of people that are doing it in our kitchens. They come up and they're like, hey, I've got this sauce, and I'm like, just so you know, it's a completely different business.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Actually, before shifting to sauces, because I want to talk about that, what do you tell folks who are looking to get into small business about the restaurant business? Like, what are the things you'd be like, beware?
Extremely small margins.
What does that mean? Like under 10%?
Yeah. I mean, it could be, depending on, things you're doing. Obviously, you have to make sure you are really, really dialed into your costs, especially your food costs. Food costs are one of the number one things that you will go under for if you don't get your food costs in, and then obviously labor.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm assuming it works everywhere, but if you're coming into business for the first time, you've probably only been an employee. You've never had to have employees. And that's one of our weaknesses is I have very little patience. So even on the food truck, we had a few employees when we first started, and it turned out to be just me and Kristen because she was the only person I could trust. She makes pad thai. It took her one time. She didn't do it quite right. She did it again. She nailed it. I'm like, awesome. Another guy would make pad thai, couldn't get it. We would go lead the food truck, like, let's take a night off. It's a Wednesday. Let's take a night off. It's hard for me to do. It's hard for me to pull away. I do, and then that's the day that the person drives 45 minutes to get the pad thai.
That they've been talking
and
about.
And is a Yelper. And leaves a 2 to 3 star review like, this pad thai isn't worth the trip. Well, that's because Joel was making the pad thai that night, and not Robert, right? Yeah. And those are the things you got to think about. Yeah. There's a lot of things, and it's just a really tough. You got to be in it.
Yeah.
Unless you're just amazing as a restaurateur, which I still don't even know what that all entails. I've never done that. You've got to be in it. You've got to be committed to being there, 10, 12 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And when you're not in there, you're still doing stuff for the business.
It's like the two things that I remember helping my mother with the restaurants is she had some cafes and restaurants growing up. And the two things that always struck me as I was like, I wonder if people even know this is going on. She would have the amount of hours she would work. And it's not like, oh, okay, even if you're like a lunch place, which I would argue that's maybe not even necessarily the best economic model. You have to have a really kind of dialed in menu and a really ravenous following. But like, as soon as the door closed, it's like the next shift starts. Yeah. They're prepping, they're cleaning. It's still wee hours of the night. Then they're in early in the morning to do receiving goods. It's just not that place you live there. It's like your life. And then the second thing I think that I learned, because a lot of people would see her run it and they would immediately be kind of mesmerized. And I think they don't realize that maybe an easier analogy is you like drinking wine, but I don't think you like making wine. It's like those are two different things.
I would say to that, no, that's 100%. And that's the issue that I've found. I still haven't scratched that itch when it comes to a restaurant. Like I've got a restaurant concept that I've had in my head for a very long time that I would love to do. I'm not going to do it if it's our sole means of income, if we need it to live off of. I want to be there. I want my kids, because I grew up around a restaurant, right? I literally lived for a year and a half. I lived above our restaurant. And in the morning, when I get up for school, my mom would wake me up by banging a broom on the floor. Come on downstairs, your eggs are ready.
Yeah.
And I go down to the diner and I get breakfast. I remember those things. I would love to have my kids come to the restaurant during the day, after school, have cool things for them to do, bring their friends, and be involved in it. But be able to pick up and go away for 2 weeks or go on a vacation or do something and not be like, God, are we going to make it? Are we going to make our rent this month? And that's what, I would never do it only as a passion project. Because if you want to do it, you can lose the love really quickly if it's your sole means of income in the way of survival.
Yeah.
So
you go and so now you move to sauces and you say, okay, this is going. What was the, after Central Market, what was kind of the next big waypoint for y'all?
So life smacked us in the face big time. So Central Market, we started stocking the shelves in July of 2016, both Austin stores. I'm stocking the shelves. So I'm doing my second stock. It's July 26th of 2016. It's my 35th birthday. I get home like 7:30 in the morning. Kristen's like, hey, I got some news for you. She's like, I'm pregnant. I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting. Well, I'm glad we're in stores now.
Not jumping for joy, but like you're thinking, how do I pay for this mouth?
No, I was happy. I was very happy. Good. I was very happy. And, 2 months later, I think it was September. And I remember I was at home and we were living in an apartment, Ladera Apartments off of I-35. And I remember I was probably labeling bottles on a little labeler I had or something in front of the TV. I would like watch TV and I would like label and do stuff. And she comes home. She had a doctor's appointment. I didn't think about going. She walks in and she's bawling. And I'm like, what is going on? And she couldn't get it out. She's like, they say there's something wrong with our child. And I was like, what do you mean they say something's wrong with our child? And she's like, they said something about heterotaxy and like the heart being backwards. And I was like, what? Well, we have to go see a pediatric cardiologist. And I was like, okay. So we go and we see a pediatric cardiologist every month for the next 6-7 months until our son's supposed to be born. And they're telling us, now mind you, we're trying to grow a business and we're just getting Central Market. January of 17, we just got greenlit into every Central Market. So we're like, wow, that's awesome. Like our products are selling. They want to expand us. Great, but we're worried. Like our son's about to be born in April. Like what's going to happen? Like, can we handle this? Like there's going to be a lot of responsibility. Like he's going to have a lot of attention needed because the doctors are telling us it's going to be okay, but there's going to be a lot of responsibility above and beyond what you're used to as a parent. But we're okay. So April 1st, we get Seton Maine, in the OR. Our son's born, Palmer, and immediately the cardiologist, because they couldn't only do so many things in utero, immediately the cardiologist comes in and he's like, hey, I have bad news for you. I'm like, oh, you have more bad news for me? He's like, yeah, we found 2 more conditions that we couldn't see in utero, and one of them is really bad. So we need to get him over to the PQ at Dell immediately. So Kristen's there. She just had an 8-pound, 13-ounce baby. She can't go anywhere. Yeah. They get him in an ambulance. I follow along. I get over to PQ. I'm there for like an hour and a half. And all of a sudden, the monitors start going everywhere. He's coding. He's dying. It looks like someone at ER. Everybody's running. Doctors are running into stuff. They're coming through. 2 minutes, he wasn't breathing. They got him back. And then he's like, yeah, he did that in the ambulance too. I'm like, what? He's coded twice in the last. He's like, yeah, he coded in the ambulance too. So yeah, we spent. And this is a whole other podcast. It's a book if I can ever write it. Yeah. We spent the next 47 days trying to fight for his life, trying to grow this business at the same time. So we ended up getting medevaced on day 6 of his life to Texas Children's Hospital. Day 9, he had a 24-hour open heart surgery. He spent 37 days on open chest VV ECMO, where the blood was just keeping his heart going. All the while, I'm being there 16 hours a day, trying to get some sleep. Whenever I got a little break and Kristen was in the room, I'd run out with my computer by the elevators because we had the best signal there, and I'd start trying to do some work. I'd try to do something, get something done. I was getting stuff into stores where I could. My friend was back here making product for us when we could, and we were at the Ronald McDonald House. My mother-in-law would drive the product up in her car, put it in the back of our RAV4, and then the distributor would come to the parking lot at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we'd load the pallet up in the back of the truck, and then we'd go to the morning rounds. And then you get to the hospital, and the doctors are like, so what do you think we should do today? I'm like, save my son's life. What do you mean? Like, they wanted me to tell them what to do. And I was like, I'm not a doctor, guys. I mean, I didn't stay at Holiday Inn Express, but I became a pretty damn good doctor pretty quick. Like, you learn. When you have to, you learn. So, yeah, I mean, that put a pretty big dent in our excitement. I mean, Kristen was done, as you can imagine. Yeah. She was, a lot of depression. I had a lot of depression. I know how I don't know how a mom feels because, being so connected with a child. I do know how connected I was. I was extremely connected. That first night when he died twice and I was by myself, we bonded pretty strong. So I was very connected to him. And it was a hellish experience. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, but we had to figure something out. And, it was during those times that I said, are we going to give up? Are we going to quit? Am I going to go back to doing what I was doing previously, deploying for 6 months at a time? Or are we going to see this through? And I was like, I don't want to quit. like, sure, the passion was gone because of what we were dealing with, but I want to see this through. And I want to see what we started because I knew we had something good. And I was like, I want to make my son proud. I want to show them that we're not going to give up and that we're going to take this tragedy, because he passed away. I'm going to put it that way. 47 days, May 17th, 2017, he passed away. We had to choose to let him go. I had doctors on the ground crying, begging me to let him go. And I remember turning to he started getting sepsis. So his feet started turning purple. And it was the first sign that maybe he was starting to get into some kind of pain. And I was like, I can't go anymore. So I turned to Chris. I'm like, you need to make me stop. You need to stop me because I can't give up. I can't quit. And we chose to let him go. Doctors convinced us to hold him, and we watched him pass away. He winked at us. He did. I'm trying to remember, his right eye on my side. And for just a split second, he gives us a little wink. Just like, it's okay, but do what you got to do. Get this shit done. And that's the way I take it. So when people are like, it's just business, it's not personal. I'm like, no, it's very fucking personal to me. It's very personal. And that's also been a burden, I think, because I take everything way more personal than probably I should.
Yeah.
But it's because of where it comes from. So for that year, we were just Central Market. And then I applied again. So I applied in 2017 for the HEB Quest for Texas Best. They didn't accept me. I literally applied for it outside of the 18th floor of the CVICU, and they denied me. And then I applied for it again the next year, and they accepted us as a finalist. Top 25 finalists in the whole state of Texas is best products in the state of Texas. And we did our presentation. We probably leaned a little too hard on our story because all the advice we got from people was like, listen, your products are great. Just tell your story. And that was our story. We told our story leading up, but this was our story. This is what happened to us. This is what we're trying to do with it. And I remember one of the judges afterwards telling me, she's like, you talked a little too much about Palmer. And I'm like, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
You still don't get it.
What else am I going to talk about?
What else am I going to talk about?
Yeah.
Our sauces are great, but what am I going to talk about? Like, this is what I want to do with it, is what I want to do with it. And we've slowly started doing that. We started the foundation on our bottle, Palmer Nicholas Foundation. You know, every bottle we try to donate. We've donated to several causes, veteran causes, as well as families. We've donated to the Uvalde. You know, when that happened, I don't watch news. And when I saw that for like a week straight, I was just like, because now you can imagine, like, we've had this one loss. If that were to happen again, like, it's just soul crushing. It's almost impossible to come back from that. So, yeah, HEB brought us in. They've been great. But it just has reframed my way of thinking about things. And I struggle with, so that's where I say, you know, because it's really been just me doing this now. Kristen backed away for a while. She came back in for a little bit, and now we keep having kids. I took care of that. We no longer have kids, but we have 3 young kids now, 6, almost 3, and 18 months old. So she's got her hands full. And she realized pretty quickly, I think, on the food truck day that she didn't really want to be an entrepreneur. She didn't really have the stomach to do what it takes to be an entrepreneur and to go through the mud and the muck and the mire and everything that it takes, right? So it's been me. It's been me doing it. And sometimes I feel like, and I get frustrated. And I talk to other veteran entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs, and they're like, and I'll say it, and then they're like, afterwards, they're like, yeah, man, that pisses me off too. Like, I feel like other people have gotten so much further along with not as good of products, and like, how are they so much further along? And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of it's my bedside manner sometimes. And I tell people that. I'm like, I need somebody that can do this side of it.
Yeah.
Because I don't do that so well because I just say what I'm thinking.
What do you mean by that? You think it's like even from a sales perspective or just,
Yeah, I mean, I literally, they don't tell me because most people don't tell you that stuff. Yeah. But I think I piss people off when I'm so forward and so blunt about things. I mean, I had one of my retailers recently, new buyer. We had a bunch of issues with our distributor. Nobody likes our distributor. Bunch of issues. And I'm just trying to get answers. I'm sending emails. They're not responding for 3 years. And they're like, we're going to get you off the shelf. And she's like, you send a lot of emails. She's like really passive aggressive about this. I'm like, you send a lot of emails. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I get it can be frustrating. And I'm like, yeah. When nobody responds to me and tells me anything, it's frustrating. I'll be honest with you. I'll be transparent with you. I just ask the same in return. That's not.
Yeah, you'd rather them say, "Hey, sorry, not a fit, man," than not hear from anybody.
And give me a reason. Give me some intel. Because that's the other thing. We've gotten rejected by so many retailers over the last 3-4 years. Yeah. So many. Justifiable? I don't know, because you won't tell me why. You won't tell me why. You won't give me any intel so that I can improve, do better, come back again in a year and be ready. And to me, it's insulting. It's insulting. It's saying you don't care about what I've done, where I've been, what I've went through. You're just saying, no.
Yeah, figure it out on your own, and maybe next time. Do you think, looking back on it now, let me ask it this way. Do you think that at this point you have any other choice but to continue figuring this out?
That's a good question. That's a topic in our house every single night.
Yeah.
My wife is sick of hearing it. Because she's like, you just got to sell this. You got to get to the next thing. I've got a great business partner with Wingman Kitchens. I've got a great pickle company that I could get going. I've got the foundation. The foundation is something I really want to do. I really want to, we would feed families at the Ronald McDonald House when we could, but I've got this idea about feeding the families and developing these programs within the hospitals with real food, like restaurants where the families can come down and they can actually cook and like learn how to cook and like get away for a few hours from what they're dealing with, because you don't want to leave the hospital bed. You want to be there, but you got to leave. A little bit, because
leave and do, not just leave and sit. Leave and do
you will
something.
go insane if you sit there and listen to the beeping and all that stuff and listen to the doctors coming in and saying what they're saying. Like, what are they saying? What does that mean? What does that mean? You just go so insane. So yeah, trying to bring something good. I mean, when I went in the hospital, I went in like 185 pounds. I left like 210, 220. Because they just feed you, I mean, bless their heart, they feed you Pop-Tarts and Papa John's and just junk. And I'm like, develop these programs. So there's a lot of things that I want to do. I always wanted to make Pretty Thai the vehicle, because I knew we had great products and I knew we had a great mission to bring people together through food and give them better food and better options. But it's such a sludge. It's the market is so hard. You got so many big boys that you're going against, and these retailers, as much as HEB wants to do, these retailers are just like so powerful. I mean, sorry, these brands, the Crafts and the Heinz, all these brands that are coming, they're so big. It's so hard to get any kind of preferential treatment to get an advantage so the consumer knows who you are. Because consumers are creatures of habit. They're just going in and being like, this is what I grab all the time.
This ketchup or whatever.
Baby Ray's. It's got one ingredient that's actually food, but it's $2.12 a bottle, man. I can't pass that up.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, what do these bottles run?
Well, good story. Now it's $5.98. HEB just raised it on us without telling me. I don't know.
Is that a good thing, though, to raise it?
I don't know.
If they can sell it?
I have a new buyer. We can't talk to her yet.
Okay.
As soon as I can talk to the buyer, we'll figure out what her logic was behind that. But I hope we're not outpricing our market.
Yeah.
But it's $5.98 a bottle at HEB. We sell it for almost double on Amazon because we have to, because of all the other fees and costs involved in that. We don't make hardly anything on Amazon right now.
It's just awareness, or what?
Awareness and economies of scale.
Yeah.
I mean, we are really growing fast on Amazon. We just hired a new agency this year. We've already over 100% growth this quarter from last year. But it's just the awareness and getting the cost where they need to be and scaling it properly. So
if you were going to like tell anybody right now who might be pursuing some kind of product, whether it's especially in the food industry, like there's got to be examples. I mean, y'all are one too, that has the potential to grow into something that can be sustainable. What is the one thing as you look back on all this experience building it that you're kind of thinking might have been even a margin unlocked, just something that just would have give you all some breathing room? Because I look at these ingredients, I'm like, I have the benefit right now of being able to stare at this literally as you've been talking on and off. I mean, this is about as pure as it gets, man. I don't see anything in here I don't recognize. Cane sugar, water.
Yeah, and the cane
Tamarind
sugar,
puree.
which, people demonize cane sugar, but we use a less refined and unbleached, the more raw cane sugar.
Well, I mean,
higher
it's like
quality.
normal stuff. I mean, so I guess my point is like, I think folks intuitively know this is better for themselves. Is it more expensive to do it this way? Is that why?
It's more expensive, 100%. When we first started, I've learned a lot about how I make products from the beginning till I do it now. The sweet chili sauce is a perfect example. When we first made that sauce, we would have to cook it for hours and hours and hours. We couldn't get a co-manufacturer to make it properly.
Yeah.
It took too long, which time in the kettle means time, cost,
Mm-hmm.
more money. It just was so hard to do, taking on our own production, having to do it, still spending 6 hours cooking it in 50-gallon batches. I reformulated it recently. For the most part, it's got a good reception. I think it's better. It's closer to what it was in the food truck, but it's different because we added bell pepper to thicken it naturally, which helps slow down the cook process, but it thickened it without using xanthan gum or cornstarch or all these other things. It gives it a better mouthfeel. It's a more real mouthfeel and viscosity, texture. We've had a few people come back. I had one today email me, do you have any more of the old? I'm like, no, we're all out. We're all out. I'm sorry. It was getting too, in order to cook it the way we had to cook it, it was getting a little too caramelized, a little almost on the bitter side. And I was like, I can't get it to where it needs to be. I need to find a way to do it naturally. And that's where we found the bell pepper. I think it's great, but I start creating products now from the reverse. Beginning, you just go in and you're just all like, this is amazing. I've got a product I've been wanting to do for the last 6-7 years. This Yuzu Kosho mayo. It's so hard because of the ingredients that are required that I'm like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I've got to get to the scale with the brand to where I could potentially figure out a way to get these ingredients done at scale to do it. But once I do it, it'll be gangbusters. But then I think, will it be gangbusters? I mean, I hope at that point in time people know about us enough that they'll just trust us and say, well, Pretty Thai is good.
Yeah, is this
Let's
Robert's
grab
palate
that.
or what? Yeah.
Yeah, let's grab that. But I'm thinking in my head, I launched a new Thai chili sriracha, 0 sugar, thickened and sweetened with red bell pepper. I love it. I use it every day. Not just me saying because I made it, but I love it. I think it's phenomenal. It's unique. It's not the same as sriracha. We're not trying to be sriracha. Sriracha isn't really the original sriracha, but that's for another time. But half of sriracha's ingredients aren't really real ingredients either. And a lot of the flavor you're getting is coming from some of those chemicals they put in there unnecessarily. So,
But you get the customer gets used to it,
yeah,
and they
you get
think
used
that's
to
what it is. Yeah.
And then when you stop and you purge your body from it, and which is what I did, I never really ate it a lot. We started on the food truck every now and then, but I never really ate it a lot. But when you start eating really healthy, because Kristen comes from that nutrition background, she loves to eat healthy, so she got me eating even more healthy. And when I tried something like that, filled with all those chemicals and stuff, I could literally taste sriracha and get a stomachache in 5 minutes. It's almost instantaneous because of what's in there. And but when you eat our products, you don't get that. So I'm not a doctor, just a chef, but I think you also feel better after you use our products. But the sriracha, not to get off on a tangent, which I usually do, the ingredients are unique. Yuzu, galangal, holy basil. You're not going to get the same flavor experience from the regular sriracha. If you want regular sriracha, just go for the regular sriracha. If you want something that's elevated, that's more unique, that'll work in the same way as sriracha, but in all other ways as well, then go for our Thai chili sriracha. But I've learned we can't get the traction on it the same way as we can those other two because people are so used to grabbing the other sriracha. So it's like we've got to find a way to get them to give us a shot.
Yeah.
So I worry if I bring a new product to this market, even though it's amazing, is it going to work? Not because it's not great, but because we just can't get the traction.
Traction to get moved.
So I would say, I thought you were going with the question. I would say, what is the one thing you would think you would need? I wish that either Kristen and I had a marketing degree background or we had somebody on our team that had a marketing degree background. Because I see so many companies, and it's infuriating to people that do food for a living that don't know how to do food, but they know how to market the hell out of stuff. Mm-hmm. And they can go out and create an inferior product and get traction way faster than you because they know how to market it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the spirits industry where it's a little bit of, it's kind of all the same vodka produced at the same place.
Yeah.
It's all about who's the name on it, who's doing it, tequila, whatever it might be, and then off you go. And the average human's palate isn't refined enough that, can kind of determine, oh yeah, this is different or whatever. To your point, they're kind of a creature of habit or what they're used to. I think that's the thing, that all those systems kind of have to work in place. Otherwise it's not an automatic. I think that's my takeaway from what you're saying too, which is you can do something right and still miss the ingredient, pun intended, this critical ingredient that ultimately makes something sell. And I imagine from your perspective, you also probably have to be, as a classically trained chef, you kind of have to come out of your body sometimes and go, what is Jim, who generally eats Jack in the Box, gonna think about? Will he buy this product or won't he buy this product?
Well, then there's the alternative of that, which is what I've always been told, especially in the food truck days all the way to now, because I used to get off the food truck at 2 a.m. and I'd be on Yelp till 4 or 5 a.m. looking at reviews, and Christian's like, stop looking at reviews. And that's what I do now on Amazon, and my team knows, don't let Robert look at reviews. Robert gets pissed off really quick at reviews. Can you please everybody? No, I want to. I genuinely want to. I genuinely give a damn. Like I said, when people call me and ask me questions, I answer the phone. I answer emails. And they're like, you actually answer the phone at Saturday? I'm like, yeah. I'll have conversations for an hour and a half with customers. Like, I genuinely enjoy that.
Yeah.
If you're coming at me from a place of like, hey, I want to learn. I want to know what's going on here. But can you please everybody? No. But it's so tough not to want to, not to try to. But I usually use my palate as a reference point. I remember when I was in culinary school, one of my chefs was like, he just told me, you need a lot of confidence as an entrepreneur, right? You need a lot of confidence to be able to do anything successful. And he's like, you probably have top 3 palates that I've ever taught. And I took that to heart. I was like, okay. And when I create my products, I'm like, wow, they love this, they love this. I just took that to heart. I've had to change kind of the way I think about that now.
Yeah.
Still not compromising on the quality, on the principles, going more towards, and I don't want to pigeonhole myself here, but going more towards like what I did with the sriracha, with pulling the sugar out and doing it in a natural way with like the red bell pepper, but still not compromising on the overall quality and the versatility, and like Central Market versus Whole Foods. Central Market, they want good products, but it better taste good. Mm-hmm. Whole Foods is like, it tastes like cardboard. As long as it's pure, the ingredients are really good, it could taste like shit, and we'll bring it in the store. They won't bring our products in the store for some reason, but they'll bring other products in the store that taste like shit. But Central Market's like, no, it's got to taste great.
Yeah.
And then if it's also got good ingredients, well, that's just an A++. So that's the way I look at it now. Like, we still kind of quality, flavor, versatility. Those were always the core 3 principles. Quality of ingredients, that leads to the quality of the flavor and a superior flavor than what you're used to. And then the versatility. Because of the way we make them, the viscosities and so forth, you can do more with them across all kinds of different cooking methods and options in the kitchen.
I dig it, man. Robert, look, we're coming up on the end here, but I do have one thing that's burning on my mind still, maybe a good way to close out. Like, if you had to daydream 5 years from now, heck, man, whatever year you pick, what do you want this to, like, what is your ultimate goal? Because you're kind of on a unique side. We get a lot of folks on this show who've bought a company, who've run a quote unquote boring business, whatever that, we want to talk about in that regard. But you're kind of the story of a pure founder who's grown something out of a deep passion. And obviously I really appreciate you sharing, man, just like the deep connectivity with the family and the hardships and all the stuff that come along with it. If you could go like this in a minute, what would that be? Like, what would happen with this business? You'd keep it, you'd leave it, what would happen?
I could do both. Because I could keep it or I could leave it, to be honest. Like, I could sell this tomorrow, and as long as we got what we needed from it, I could be happy with that. But it's always like, as soon as you get a little more traction, as soon as one other person or somebody big comes in and says, hey, we want to be on board with this.
It's game on again.
It's game on again. It gets me excited. It rejuvenates me. I need that team.
It's how you're built.
It's like, I'm by myself. It's so like, but if I can get, and that's what I need a team. I need more people that are smarter than me in areas that I know I'm not smart in, or have the bedside manner where I don't have it, and can go to the retailers and say, and get it in.
Yeah.
And help push it and get the brand awareness there. If I can get that, I've had ideas for 1,000 products in this line. We could be a Siete for this. Like, that's what I always saw ourselves as when we were starting. Same time as Siete, or even earlier. And how much did they sell for? Over
Yeah.
$1 So yeah, there you go.
We got some of their chips right here.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing products. We could do the same thing with Thai food, but I need a team.
Yeah.
They had a team.
Yeah.
I don't really have a team. I have a few people. I don't have enough. And so that's what I need. Otherwise, sell, move on.
Probably in the food though, staying somewhere in food.
Always going to be somewhere in food, some aspect
Yeah.
of food.
Brother, thanks for coming in, man, really, and chatting with us. I mean, you're right. There's probably worth having you back in to do a full episode on a lot of these other important topics that we can go through. But I think if anything, what I genuinely appreciate is kind of the testament of like how hard it is to get something from zero to where it is to like where it has even remote survival traction. Then to just be able to put yourself and kind of back on the hamster wheel for it to keep going. So I'll tell you, man, I've had this stuff before, and I know that you guys will continue pushing this thing, but genuinely appreciate the background of the story there, man, and kind of just being an example of what it takes to move something like this.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate you having me. And yeah, trust me, there's a lot more, so we can always do this again.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
I appreciate it.
That's it, Matt.
That's great. Now, as a bonus,
Oh, you want us to taste it?
I want you to taste it.
Okay.
But like, try it out.
You're going to have to, I mean, this would be the best one to taste.
Well, let's do it.
They're all, I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
usually I like to taste those two.
Okay, well, tell me, do we want
when
to go
they're
through
like
it all first?
chilled.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
But,
so
yeah, just quickly
Nice
explain.
riff.
Yeah, just quickly explain the sauces to me.
yeah, so sweet chili, that was our flagship. That's the one that got us started. That's the one that I reformulated recently to get it closer to what it was on the food truck.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. Hopefully most people do still. Thai peanut, that one, funny story. I created that one because Central Market wanted it.
Okay.
I didn't have a Thai peanut. I was in Central Market and the food was like, Robert, we have 0 Thai peanut sauces that we can recommend.
Yeah.
You want to make one? And they were bothering me for a year. I'm like, I was R&Ding it. It took me a year. I launched that. That's now the #1 Thai peanut on Amazon.
Oh,
It's-
really?
It's overtaking
What's the
sweet chili.
weirdest thing to put this on that tastes good? What's the
weirdest-
most odd combo that's delicious?
Odd combo?
Because there's obvious combos. There's obvious
chicken
ones.
salad is an amazing way to using it.
Yeah.
It makes a great chicken salad sandwich.
Does it taste good on ice cream?
Oh, there you go. Yes, it can taste good on ice cream.
I have a feeling it would. That's why I was wondering.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it tastes good on ice cream. We actually did that one for an ice cream sundae at Central Market for a cooking thing one time, and it was a favorite thing they did all night.
Yeah.
They said.
And then this guy.
Then this is the new one, the Thai chili sriracha. So I didn't create this because there was a sriracha shortage. I've been thinking about this before that. I just knew.
Gotta clean the palate.
Yeah, the reason why I did this is because we created 2 sauces that are going to go bye-bye. 3 sauces. Our tiger smirk sauce is going bye-bye. Our it's a little thicker than normal, but it's still got a good
Kind of like a
consistency.
ketchup vibe.
Yeah, a little bit. Got a good texture on it.
Am I screwing it up by eating it like this?
No,
Okay.
no, that'd be good. And then my Muay Thai sauce, which I didn't bring those. I wanted to bring the big 3
Oh,
that we're
brother,
going to
give
be
me
going
that
with.
again, man. That's delicious, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh, man. This
yeah,
thing
it's got
hit me
big
like
flavor.
a freaking
If
freight
you're afraid
train.
of flavor, like I say, like
then
the
you
old
can go home, man.
Delta
Oh my
Nice,
gosh, this is delicious, man.
if you don't like flavor, you don't like pretty Thai. That's what we like to say. But we're unapologetic when it comes to flavor. But
Oh my god, I'm trying to taste this thing.
the
Hold on.
Muay Thai sauce was my original hot sauce. It's fish sauce. It's always big flavors, but nobody knew what it was. It was Muay Thai. It was
You better like hot, man. It's not hot in a bad way. It's
no, it's
hot
got a
like
good
in
kick.
a,
It's got a bigger kick than it's got a bigger kick than regular sriracha, I think.
Yeah,
Oh man.
bro. I mean,
Mix
what am
that
I
with
putting that on?
Everything.
Tacos.
Well, anything you want to do
Yeah, breakfast
sriracha with,
tacos.
do that. Now I will game changer for you. Anything like Italian, do a little Thai-Italian night, little marinara,
Thai-Italian.
little meatballs, chicken parm. Just throw in your spaghetti.
Oh
and
my
marinara.
gosh, man.
It's gonna make that a little spicy. Do a little spicy
There's
sausage
no, it's not,
marinara.
we're not spine like it's not.
No.
This is just delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, anything Italian. I've recently doing it.
Oh.
So we recently did a cooking demonstration at Central Market beginning of this month, and I'm doing this marinade with summer squash. So you have a really good recipe, super simple. I just did. You can play around the ratio. You do about a 3-part sriracha to about a 1-part honey, and then half of that of rice wine vinegar. Mix it. I marinate the squash in it, and then I'll either grill the squash, smoke it on my Traeger, and then let that thicken up naturally.
Yeah.
Or take that marinade, dump it off, pour it in a pot, reduce it down, it thickens up. We took that thickened up reduction And I was working with one of the people at Central Market, and we're all talking about food. We're like,
I'm doing one more of these.
what am I going to do with this? So we're like, well, let's do baked beans with it. Okay, baked beans.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do a Bloody Mary with it. Okay, great. Let's do enchiladas with it. So I went home that night and I did a lobster avocado enchilada with that thickened up reduction sauce made out of the sriracha, rice wine vinegar, and honey. So it's just got, again, the
This is
versatility.
probably good on Brussels sprouts, huh?
Yeah. Well, the sweet chili was our original with the Brussels
I imagine that's that common, but this has got a kick, man.
do that with it. Mix it with a little bit of the sweet chili. Add a little bit of sweet with the spicy savory. It's just a lot of things you can do with it. Like you have so many options. And again, because they're clean, because the viscosities are real, you can play around with it more. And if you ate more of it, you would realize like you don't feel that heavy, lethargic, kind of gross after you eat a lot of Asian food because of what's not in there. It's just as important what's not in there than what is. So yeah, I mean, this one definitely is.
I'm going to an ice cream shop, so I might take this with me.
Pizza. So we do a.
This goes with good pizza.
So we do we had an influencer that did one for us. We got for free. She did a pizza with it with our seasoning salt and that. And then Kristen started playing around with it. So she do just either go get the flour tortillas from HEB or go get naan bread.
Yeah.
And that's the base. Then you do mozzarella. I like to smoke chicken thigh on my Traeger. Super simple. It comes out so good.
Dude,
and then pickle some red onion. Really quick pickle in the red onion.
What do you mean a quick pickle?
Yeah, you just throw a little bit of just the vinegar and lime juice in with the red onion. I mean, it would take a few hours to pickle, but do a quick pickle on the red onion or let it sit overnight in advance. And then fresh dill and jalapeno. And I did it for an event with the Business Hall of Fame. Were you at that cooking demonstration event?
Torchies?
No.
I didn't make that one.
We did it at the Frost Bank. And I did.
It was a hit.
Yeah, it was a hit. So Patrice wants the recipe for the deviled eggs I did the yuzu kosho mayo with the deviled egg, and then we did a sriracha relish on top. And she's like, I need that recipe, Robert. I'm like, I'll give it to you. It's just a little complicated to make the yuzu kosho, but the rest of it's super simple. But we did that, and then I made the pizza. And it's just super simple. It literally, besides smoking the chicken and doing the pickled red onion, I mean, that's a quick thing. I mean, that's going to cook in 5 minutes.
Yeah, man, there's no calories in this thing.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I just go put it on a fat, juicy burger now, and then it's got all the calories in the world, man. Robert, we should have started with this.
Yeah.
I appreciate you, man.
Try the Thai peanut.
Okay. Yeah, pull the thing out the peanut. So the peanut is becoming really, I think, pulled right off.
That's all right. I don't care about that.
My sealer person didn't do their job.
Hey, not just Q ate it here.
We switched to that seal because of issues with the
Oh yeah, that's good. Hold on, what did I just taste? There's a basil in here?
No, there's tamarind. There's
I would be in your chef's 3 bottom
Galangal's
palettes.
going to give you a little a little floral notes in there. You're getting this from the galangal, which is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, man. Gosh.
Super simple. Yeah, just
dude, this
another super
this
simple
on some vanilla ice cream.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Be nuts, man.
Yeah, no, it would be fire, especially with some mint, a little basil.
That's how I want all my pad thai to taste like.
Now I'm gonna get mad at him for a second because we have an authentic pad thai sauce that we're discontinuing because nobody knows how to use it or won't look at the recipe. Some people get it. I'm gonna recreate another version that's not exactly the same, but it's an authentic pad thai. It is amazing. But it's thin in the bottle. It's got to be cooked into the noodles.
Oh, you got it. There's a way to do it.
But with the pad thai and that peanut together, it makes drunken noodles pad kimao.
Well, I'll take some Paki Mao.
Wow, man.
So,
and I see this Palmer Nicholas on here.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, the goal was to grow pretty tight to the point where we can really use that to grow the foundation.
And that to be the foundation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, who knows, man? Timing is an interesting thing sometimes.
I know. We just keep waiting for the timing to work out for us. We just keep waiting.
Well, I'll tell you, you got the way you're built, man, is like, I think, probably doesn't feel it that way, but it's like the way you're built, it's kind of how you have to naturally be programmed. Otherwise, I feel like it's too dang hard.
Yeah.
You know, heck, man, some people don't even, what happened the other day? You can't get some people to stay outside without a jacket for like a minute. and you're like, how long has this been going? 20 years?
No, it feels like it. It's been going 12 years with a food truck. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's like what's your advice when you want to talk to people who want to do their own business? I'm like, don't do it. That's my first advice. I'm like, have you really thought about it? Have you thought it through? It's the same thing like when like I was thinking about how I'm going to approach like when we start doing family advocacy stuff with parents because of what we went through with that. And it's like there's a system and this is a whole other conversation too. There's a system that's like terrible. It's bad. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest, blunt. I'm going to be like the basic training, like the drill instructor. Like somebody else can sugarcoat it for you. I'm going to give you the worst. And like, really, truly, you want to do this? You serious? You can't get this done. If they still want to do it, okay, maybe they have a shot. But don't go in there and like sugarcoat it, pussyfoot around, and then expect that you gave them what they needed to actually go succeed.
You don't feel it's helpful if you're just like, oh yeah, anybody can do this.
Yeah,
you're
no,
like,
not at all.
No. You're like, I'm somebody who
I'm
can
going to
do
do the
this.
opposite.
And
I'm going to give you I'm going to go up here. I'm going to play devil's advocate with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's helpful probably. I'm sure I bet you save some folks some grief.
Maybe. I don't know. They'll come back to me in 20 years and say thank you. I don't know. But we'll see. That's it. Yeah.
Man, well, thanks for bringing these sauces in. This I know what to do with. Should I taste it?
Yeah. It's just, I like the peanut and the sweet chili when they're a little chilled. Like you put them in the freezer, the fridge, and then you can use them as
Well,
a
I
dipping
know
sauce.
I'm going to like this. I mean, this is why it's favorite. It's so funny, man. This how like this has become a lot more popular. Okay, stand by. Just so everybody knows, that sriracha sauce, I basically can't stop eating it.
You will go through, I go through a bottle of that in like 3-4 days.
I don't doubt it.
I'm using it on everything. Then you start doing the
my
combinations.
gosh.
Like, dude, try the combination with the sweet chili and the sriracha. You play them together.
Oh, that's right. Hold on.
Yeah. That's how I would do the Muay Thai in that. I would do a lot of stir fries because I like that more. Like, I don't go to that all day, every day. I go to that more often than that. Like, we'll do that with just like, helping plug somebody who doesn't need plugging, but Momofuku
Here.
and David Chang, like, just his
John,
noodles
see you want this?
with the soy scallion noodles with our peanut sauce and put some, like, chicken thighs on there. That's a super simple dinner with the peanut. But, yeah, the combination of the sweet chili and the
They're all good, man. Damn gun.
and the sriracha together is where, like, really goes.
Shut up.
These are great.
These are the same reactions we get from customers. So I know you're not faking right now because these are the same reactions we get from customers.
We're
in the
hanging out here
stores.
long because we're like, hey,
Yeah.
this is why we do it. Like, this is delicious, man. This is killer. Just for folks, like sriracha, obviously, is this like a baseline word for something? It's like a
So-
style of sauce, is why it's called that.
And it
'cause
was
I've tasted
originated from I think it was in Eastern Thailand,
Yeah,
and then I don't know the exact origin of the other sriracha, the rooster. I think he brought over and did a different variation of it. So there's an original variation in Thailand that's different from what you're thinking of as sriracha.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a style. I think chili. We don't use the red jalapeno. We use Thai chili.
Okay.
So we're going with the Thai chili, which is a spicier chili. But unfortunately, not all of them, but most there are healthier srirachas. I say healthy, meaning still flavorful, that do it in a clean way that are unique. But all those other ones are out there just trying to basically do the exact same thing as what sriracha, the rooster sauce, was doing with all the ingredients and all this stuff. Like, that was something that came from, like, post World War II baby boomer needing to put a bunch of food out there, creating all these preservatives and stuff that, like, I mean, this is a 2.5 pH, this is a 3 pH, this is a 3.6 pH. You get 4.0 and a 4 or below, you're good. 4.71, I know I'm nerding out right now, 4.71 botulism starts growing. You don't need all those preservatives and stuff to keep these sauces.
Yeah, I just looked at the expiration date on this.
Consumers aren't used to that, though. They'll call me, when
2027.
does this go bad? I'm like, it doesn't really go bad. If you hold it in the fridge, it'll last forever. I got one of these from like 10 years ago that I'm still waiting to like open up like a bottle of wine.
Oh, it's like a wine?
Yeah. It doesn't go bad, really. It just will change. This one changes in the bottle. It develops. It gets more umami. It starts off and it's very like more citrus forward.
Yeah, it's kind of
And then as
vinegary.
it sits, tangy citrus, and as it sits, it gets more umami. Vinegar's always there. I love vinegar, but it just develops.
It's like a private, like a reserve.
Right?
You kind of keep it reserved like a shelf.
Exactly. You could keep
Yeah.
it forever. So, short part, unless you do something weird with it and leave it open to the air and at the sea or
you
some
tuck a
weird
fly in
environment.
there or something,
Yeah. It's not going to really go bad.
Bro. I mean, you know what's funny? Is I've had most all your sauces on food, though.
Yeah.
I guess I never really just sit here and just freaking ripped them straight from the bottle.
Which is what I do a lot. And whenever I ever see, and Kristen hates it too because like I always make her try to. She's like, I don't want to do it. But in the kitchen is where I love it because everybody in the kitchen, they're chefs.
Yeah,
they're like, hell yeah, man, let's go, let's try it. Let's try it. I'm home with her, and she's like, I'm having coffee. I don't want it right now. And I'm like, try it.
Yeah, put it on your shortbread cookie.
7 a.m. I don't care what time of day it is. You're trying this new sauce. But yeah, straight up.
You made my day. I'm taking this to ice cream tonight.
Yeah, do it.
I'll try it.
Throw little herbs on there. Like I said, a little mint, a little basil. Be really good with that.
Hey, look, y'all. This is not even a public service, man. Just go get you some Pretty Thai. They can get it Amazon, online.
Amazon.
Get it at H-E-B.
Amazon, if you're in Texas, you go to H-E-B. We're in the condiment aisle of H-E-B.
Heck yeah.
If you're in Austin, H-E-B is obviously great. Wheatsville carries our products. Central Market, amazing, carries our products. If you're in the Midwest, you go to Meyer.
Yeah.
Our Thai
It's in there?
peanut and sweet chili are in the World Food Set now. Just those two.
Y'all on Buc-ee's yet?
No, I haven't really tried Buc-ee's with that. I tried Buc-ee's with the pickles really quick, and that was like, come back when H-E-B and Whole Foods says something.
Maybe we'll get you on with
But
Buc-ee's.
I could put them into Buc-ee's at some point. I really haven't tried.
Yeah. Come. Thank you, brother.
No, thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the American Operator Podcast, where we celebrate the backbone of America, small business owners and operators like you. If you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe so you'll never miss out on more of these stories and insights from people who keep our community strong. Until next time, keep building, keep operating, and keep America moving forward.